that work, go. You know, not even worried about, like I said, I'm trying to bring Justin from college. I'm trying to mix him with the Justin of professional realm. Justin college was fearless. He didn't care about wind. You know, if it was a headwind, I was going to run the fastest time in headwind history. You know what I mean? So I didn't care about anything. You know, and I want to bring that in. I think a lot of professional athletes have a tendency to become a little more finicky, you know, about their performance. So I want to be able to mix both of them together and just put a great performance together. It only lasts for 9 seconds, so I think I can do it.
You're undefeated this season in individual races. What's it look like for you progressing from kind of start up until this point in the season, then moving forward?
You know, I sat down with my coach and my teammates, and we just put out a good strategy. You know, we're going to go out there and try to bang out at least 2 to 3 races, get a little rest time in, and then go again at 2 or 3 races, and then see where that leads up until the end of the year. Last year I felt really burnt out when I was going into Zurich and Brussels towards the end of the year. My legs weren't there, so I wasn't really happy with that. So I think we went back to the drawing board and we tried to put together a better race strategy going into this year, and then worry about what's going to happen in 15.
And how does, you know, taking that strategy into place, how did your preseason look? Did it look any different than years past?
Oh, yeah. Just trying to eat right, you know. I have a tendency to pack on the pounds pretty easy, so I was making sure that in my preseason, fall training, I was just making sure that I stayed fit as possible. Once we did intervals, when we do 500 repeats, which I'm not a fan of, you know, but I have to do them. I had to make sure that I had to go out there with the mentality of a distance runner and just get it done.
Okay. I mean, you've really focused in on the 100 this year. Any chance we'll see you try the 200 and 400 a little bit more?
I've begged and begged to begin the season, let me do some 200s, But I've always prepared myself to be 200 ready when it's time for me to run a 200 when I'm in shape. I'd rather be 200 ready and run hundreds, and hopefully that will cross over into some great times in 100 meters. Next year, hopefully we go out there and double as well.
Last week they had the World Relays. It looks like the athletes that went kind of had a good time. You didn't go, is it just because you didn't want to get over-raced, or?
It was a mixture of a lot of things. I had some obligations there, and with my sponsorship XTEP in Beijing. And I think that just having the guys there, the young guys, you know, I have faith in them. You know, we didn't get to stick around in both relays. At least we got DQ'd in both relays. But I think that once we go into World Championship next year, you'll see a different team, and I'm going to be out there helping them very much. But I just wanted to make sure that I got my rest as well, and I was ready to come back and run very fast here for you.
And there's been sort of some talk about Dennis Mitchell being the coach. I mean, he had his own doping past, and obviously you had your own. What's your take on a sort of someone like that serving as a coach? I mean, to me, it seems like a lot of people think it's a little bit different than an athlete because it's sort of an honorary position. Do you think that he should be allowed to coach the team, or?
I don't see why not. I mean, I look at the math. I mean, the majority of people on the team, when his offense came up, it was 20 years ago or more. You know, those kids were 3 years old, 2 years old. You know, they didn't know anything about that. I think that whatever's happened with him, he served his time. He's came back. He's 2 different careers, a sprinter, and then now he's a coach. You know, so I think he's done a great job as a coach. He's put in a lot of good work. He's had a lot of good athletes on his roster. Kelly Wells has also won a bronze medal for him. Alexander Anderson has done well last year World Championships and in relays. So I think that a lot of the athletes that he has speak for him. You know, so I think that he's a good coach. I think that he went out there and he represented the U.S. and got the girls to bring home some hardware.
Going back to your season plan, you said you'd have a couple races and then take a break, come back. How long would the break be between races?
Depending, actually, it's depending on the races. Actually, I would say anywhere between a week to a week and a half. You know, you want to find that good area where it's going to be. You know, you want to get enough rest, but you want to still stay sharp too, race ready. So about a week to week and a half.
Do you have any idea when you're going to face the Bolt or Blake?
Whenever. I am ready. I'm ready. You know, I just think that that's what the season's kind of lacking. You know, not just season, but the sport in general. You know, those head-to-head competitions that you watch on YouTube where Carl used to race Leroy. You know, those are the kind of things that we need, you know, back in the sport. Some head-to-head, titans clashing against each other. You know, yeah, you want to watch this race over here with Usain, and this race over here with Blake, and this race over here with Justin, but when are we going to see those guys together outside of a championship? So I think that we can all pull it together and set aside egos and get ready to run. I think that we can do a good job and bring that back to the sport.
With the way you're running, they're probably a little bit hesitant to get back into it.
You got to be ready. You know, one thing I learned about being a sprinter is you got to have respect. You know, you got to have respect for the other athletes that are next to you, no matter what their times are, if they're faster than you or even slower than you. But anybody can win on that day. You know, anything can happen on that day. So I think that when I go into events like this one coming up tomorrow, I'll be ready for anybody who's ready. And then in the future coming up, if I'm racing Bolt, Usain, Johan, anybody else, I'll be ready for them just as well.
Are there any parts of your 100-meter race that you've really broken down over the past couple months?